Welcome back to the ESO channel. My name is Danny and we've just got a bunch of new gameplay and mechanics information on Cyberpunk 2077 regarding the weapons. So in this video we're going over all 5 weapon types in Cyberpunk 2077 and also how to get the best legendary weapons in the game and exactly what makes them different. But also how you can customize and modify your weapons and how your character's build and skills with weapons will actually affect your efficiency with guns, cybernetics and melee as you progress through the game. Now if you guys didn't know or you're new here, I've already gone over all the life path backstory choices you make at the start of the game, and I've done another video with tips on how to build your character at the start of the game. I'll link both of those videos down below, but if this sort of content interests you, make sure you subscribe and press the bell icon, and then YouTube will actually tell you whenever I release a new Cyberpunk 2077 content video. And that's all this channel is. It's just guides for roleplay games like Cyberpunk. So let's start out by talking about how you get the best weapons in the game, the legendary weapons. All the weapons in the game that you find have been ranked, so you can see at a glance how good they are. Starting out, we have common weapons, and then we have uncommon, rare, and then finally legendary weapons, and these are completely unique. Basically, the better the rank of the weapon, the more damage it's going to be doing, the better the stats will be. Now we saw the same system with The Witcher 3, which is another game CD Projekt made, and in the same way the devs have confirmed that we'll be finding the weapons scattered across the world of Cyberpunk 2077. Firstly, you can buy them from shops or vendors from the different factions or gangs, and as you progress through the storylines specifically with each faction, you'll also unlock more specific guns that are unique to that faction. You can of course also just kill enemies in that faction to steal their weapons from them and also loot secret stashes, and exactly like in The Witcher 3, there were many weapons and armor sets that you can only obtain through discovering secret chests throughout the game. So it's really cool to hear that that's going to be something you can do as well. And the devs have also confirmed that the legendary weapons will be completely unique. In fact, you'll find some characters you come across within the game have their own signature legendary weapon that you cannot otherwise obtain unless you kill them for it. So you have to decide for yourself if you like a certain character enough to keep them around, or you want to kill them just to get their unique gun. Now we may be able to obtain their weapons in other ways like through quests, theft, persuasion and so on, but it seems like some of these top class weapons are going to be hard to obtain if we have to kill our favourite character for it. I wouldn't actually be surprised if Jackie's gold-plated high-caliber revolvers are actually a legendary version of the Malorian Reaver MDE 1984, but God forbid if we have to kill Jackie. Now the legendary weapons themselves will each have a completely unique feature that is not available on any other gun. For example, a shotgun with a grappling hook, or a katana that slows time after you hit people with it. I made those two things up, but you get the idea. You're going to have a unique benefit with these legendary weapons. I personally love this idea of having completely unique collectibles that feel special to actually find in the game. Now before I talk about the types of weapons you can have in Cyberpunk 2077, let's talk about weapon mods. And if you guys haven't already checked out my Cyberpunk 2077 display page, please click the link below in the description, because these are actual metal pieces of artwork, like metal posters, that basically stick to your wall using magnetic strips. The sticker protects the paint and then you stick the magnet to that, and then obviously the metal artwork sticks to the magnet. So you can swap them out whenever you like, or if you change the game you're playing and so on. I'm actually currently working on a whole wall of metal artwork, and you can check out the official Cyberpunk 2077 art, linked down below in the description. If you use that link, it also helps support the channel as well. So another really cool feature that was mentioned in the most recent Cyberpunk gameplay was that since this is an RPG, your character will of course start with low stats, which will be reflected in their speed of reloading, running and gunning, and also just fighting in general with weapons. Just like in Skyrim though, the more you use certain weapons, the more efficient your character will become with those weapons as you play. I've gone into much more detail about this in my build video, which is also linked below though. But now let's go over weapon mods and customization options, because the weapons in Cyberpunk 2077 have two types of customization options. Firstly, the more obvious ones where you can like mod the scope and so on, and secondly, software mods. Software mods are small chips that update the stats of the gun. They're kind of like a buff. So for example, you can increase the rate of fire for a sniper rifle, or even the damage, or reduce the spread of a shotgun. So you can essentially customize your favorite part of a weapon the way you want it to match your gameplay style. You can have a ridiculously accurate automatic fast firing shotgun, for example, which is actually in the game. However, that is not it. You can also take it one step further and change the ammunition type of the gun as well. So you can actually have biochemical rounds which will rip through the enemy's armor even faster than normal rounds. But rather interestingly as well, it was also mentioned that you can get non-lethal rounds for your weapons. So we already knew that you can rescue and capture people in Cyberpunk 2077, so perhaps we will have something along the same lines as bounty missions where you don't want to kill people, or we also know that you can do a no-kill playthrough of Cyberpunk, and the developers confirmed this is indeed possible, so having non-lethal rounds will obviously make that a lot easier for you if you accidentally reach for your weapon once. And then secondly guys, we have physical weapon mods. This can be anything from extra magazine sizes, scopes, red dot sights, iron sights, night visions, silencers, pretty much everything we're used to in every other game. And again, this will affect the damage accuracy and all of those other statistics on your weapon. So you can really come up with your own playstyle and customize your guns for it, which I think is really cool. Now let's go over the weapon types. This is actually a really interesting feature about Cyberpunk that I think sets it apart from other FPS games in general. We have smart, tech, melee, cyberware, and also throwables. So starting out with tech weapons, these can pierce through walls and cover, which is pretty powerful indeed. And if you're smart and playing like a stealthy playthrough, obviously this is going to be extremely helpful for you. Secondly, we have smart weapons. These have heat-seeking bullets that are, yes, very overpowered, since they can go around corners, cover, and take out enemies without you really needing to have any skill with aiming. You just basically have a box on your screen and you hover over the enemies and you can basically like guide the bullets into them. Now this system was actually invented with the intention to make the game more approachable to people who wanted to simply enjoy the storyline of Cyberpunk but weren't very good at FPS games. Now the devs showed one example of an 8-barreled smart shotgun, which just sounds ridiculous and I love that. But essentially using this shotgun you can just immediately clear a room of people with just a few bursts of fire. Thirdly though, we have power weapons. These are weapons that are basically your traditional weapons that you'd expect in any FPS games, with the added bonus that they do more damage than the other varieties of weapons since you need to aim, and that obviously requires more skill. And you don't have any other perks like the other weapon categories. In this example though, we saw the dev using a super heavy shotgun that simply just obliterates the enemies apart. It's so powerful. And god, I can't wait to do that with like melee weapons, and it's so satisfying to look at. But as you can see, it's a completely different gameplay to the smart shotgun. So, fifth on our list, we have cyberware. You see, cybertech is basically grafted into human bodies, and you can upgrade your arms and legs and things with artificial cybernetics to enhance your character in various ways. In terms of weaponry, there are defensive cyberwares as well, but we're talking about weapons here in this video. Subscribe if you want to hear about the other stuff. So the weapons are mostly close combat orientated, and they will all scale off your character's stats. For example, the gorilla arms scale off strength, and they give you unarmed damage as well, and the ability to rip turrets off the floor and use them against your enemies. Then we have the projectile launch system that lets you fire grenades out of your arms. The monowire or nanowire, which is basically like a whip weapon that can be used not only to hack people at further range, but also as a close combat weapon. You can just slash people with it. I also believe the damage scales of your tech skill as well, and it allows you to easily take out people from stealth by strangling them with it, which is pretty awesome. Then of course we have the Mantis arms, which I think everyone's kind of seen by now. They're essentially embedded melee weapons within your arms, and you can also leap and stealth attack enemies with them as well. Fifth on our weapon list, we have melee weapons. We have clubs like the industrial sledgehammer, which we see one of the bosses using, and this is indeed a weapon you can use yourself, which is pretty cool. And we also have knives, swords, katanas, and the new gameplay of the katanas looks incredibly cool. I mean, it's really nice to see that they actually have that slicing animation, and you can make a directional cut based on the animation through someone's body, and it's that attention to detail that I think, you know, really sets Cyberpunk apart as a next gen game. And number 6, we have throwables. So we're going to have grenades and probably EMPs and things like that. We do know from like the original tabletop RPG, the paper one, there were actually shurikens as well. So they could even be in the game too. We just haven't seen any confirmed footage of that yet. And that was pretty much it for the roundup of all the weapons in Cyberpunk 2077 and how they work, and all the new information broken down in this video. But if you want to know how this will work with your character build, please go ahead and check out my other Cyberpunk video where we go over the character build and setup, and also how your choice of backstory will affect your character. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile to support the channel, please do check out Displate, link down below, for some awesome metal artwork. Obviously, some of that money goes to me and the developers and the guys who actually make the artwork over at Displate. But guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Thanks for liking. And if you are a new subscriber, do make sure that you press the bell icon, because then YouTube will actually let you know each time I upload. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Thanks for all your support as usual. Oh my god, I can't believe the last video's got like 500,000 to 1 million views. It was crazy, guys. So honestly, thank you so much if you just watched them already. That's awesome. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and goodbye.